What's up, legends? What's going on, guys? Let's dive right into this afternoon's live stream. How the hell are you guys? What's going on? Hope everybody's having a great afternoon. Enjoying 5 days of green candles so far. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. All right, let's dive in. We got one super chat to start the stream. Super sticker. What's going on? Wardy, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Supporting the channel. Absolutely love it. All right, let's see what's going on out there. Danny, my dude, what's happening, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Carl, salute. What's going on, my guy? Good to see you. Well, I figured a Bitcoin seizure would happen. Yep. We're going to talk about it, guys. What's with XCN? Why is it pumping so hard, and what should we expect? Going higher, retest? Well, I mean, XCN is no different than everything else in the market right now. Everything is pumping. So there's nothing unique about what XCN is doing right now. Is it weird that I'm sad we didn't see 70K before moving up? No. Well, I mean, listen. Is it weird? No. But you are weird, yes. Because we got to be weird to still be here, right? What do we got? Chris says XCN most definitely will hit the 1 cent 4 to 2 cent 2 range by today or tomorrow. Let's go. That'd be awesome. That would be awesome. Beast mode. We are back thanks to Mr. T. Let's go. Yo, Danny, my dude. Happy Bitcoin Monday. A guy, what's happening, man? Michael says XCN is the gem of all gems. Let's go. Let's go. All right, what do we have? Wardy says, good day, Rob. Happy New Year to you and your family. Let's go. Happy New Year to you and your family, too, man. Thank you so much. There she is, guys, the one and only Gamma Goddess in the house. She says, good evening, Rob and Crypto Fam. Let's get this money, y'all. Dollar bills, y'all. I wonder where it will stop XCN by the end of all of this. The moon, my friend, the moon. Paul, good to see you again, brother. Good to see you. Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe on the way in. We got 103 people watching right now. What do we have for the likes, guys? 30 likes. Let's get that up to 100. Let's get it to 100, guys. Danny says, what's a TA on our beloved XCN? Well, let's go have a look. Let's have a looky-loo. Well, the TA on XCN is boom. Moon, right? Boom, moon. That's what's up with that. Look at that move. Holy smokes, guys. Holy smokes. What do we got? Over the last over the last 5 days, we have 132% move on Onyx coin. 132% over the last 5 days. So that is super fantastic. We do have, as you can see, a little bit of resistance where we are right now, right? We do have resistance back in this range. We've rejected off that area quite a bit. Is there any significance further back? A little static, but nothing major. So this shouldn't be too significant of a level, to be honest with you. If we can smash above, I mean, you're probably looking at 1 cent to 1 cent 2, something like that. Possible. I'm hoping Bitcoin does what silver did. Silver made us think it was a right shoulder, and then it went. Yeah, I remember that, O House. Absolutely. I actually remember that. I think we were talking about that a few months ago, remember? Green Candle Glenn in the house. What's going on, Stefan? Good to see you, man. Heard that my friend Gotcha Tails 800 is quitting the channel. If you guys don't know him, what? Heard my friend Gotcha Tails 800 is quitting the channel. He's got a channel? I never heard of that channel. If strategy survives the MSSI decision, then we'll really be off to the races. Let's go. Have you identified why XCN and Swift seem to have a strong price reaction connection? No. Some projects just are very highly correlated when it comes to charts, right? Onyx Coin, XLM and XRP are another set that do that all the time. So yeah. And I'm glad that we'll get 95 Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin. There you go. Over the top, supporting me over on Rumble. Absolutely, guys. Make sure you are following us over on Rumble. Help us grow. It's free for this morning also. There we go. I don't know if you guys saw me glitch out there. Danny says, looks like last year. There you go. Exactly. Ohio is a weird place. Got to be weird to be the king of it. There you go. XEN is doing great. Yes. Jay Dorn also supporting us on Rumble. Guys, make sure you're following us over on Rumble. Swiftcoin up over 32% today. Yes, it is. Virtuals is up nicely too. Yamaha supporting me as well. I like it when you call us weirdos. Well, you are a weirdo. So maybe I'll go back to calling you weirdos. Absolutely. Thank you for supporting the channel, my friend. I'm here, Pencil Next, 50 push-ups. Let's go. It's me, Yamadio. What's happening? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. All right, so we are caught up in the chat, guys. Let's get into the news. Let's see what's going on across the crypto space. Tony, finally catching a live. There you go, man. Let's frickin' go, says Red Blaine. Good to see you guys, man. Good to see you guys. We got 137 people watching now. We got 47 likes. Let's kick it up to 100, guys. Bam! Let's go. All right, let's get into the news while we are waiting on that. Let's get right into the Bitcoin seizure. Let's go. CNBC reports on potential U.S. seizure of Venezuela's Bitcoin. Let's dive into it, guys. Oh, U.S. like, oh, you got some Bitcoin? We got some Bitcoin. CNBC report suggests the U.S. government may seize Venezuela's Bitcoin reserves, a move linked to Murado's custodial status in the United States. The potential seizure could impact Bitcoin's market, reducing its circulating supply, though no official confirmation has been made yet by prominent government or financial entities. The CNBC report alleging the U.S. government interest in seizing Venezuela's Bitcoin reserves has stirred financial circles. Evidence remains speculative, with a focus on so-called shadow reserves of 600,000 Bitcoin, reportedly tied to potential developments involving Maduro. Key figures, including President Maduro and Alex Saab, who allegedly managed cryptocurrency operations for sanction evasion, while the Venezuelan government officially reported holding 240 Bitcoin. Some claims suggest larger hidden reserves intertwined with oil revenue. The report suggests a potential impact on global cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, which could see a reduced circulation. Market remains vigilant, anticipating whether any enforcement action will indeed affect Bitcoin supply dynamics and valuation. Speculative financial calculations discuss if these reserved Bitcoin, potentially worth $60 to $67 billion, are real. The market impact from such a supply change could drive innovator interest. So basically what they're saying here, guys, is reports are that Venezuela apparently has something like 600,000 Bitcoin, right? That's just a little bit less than Strategy has, by like maybe 60 to 70,000 coins, right? Now, in saying that, if the U.S. seizes it, you know they're going to add it to the Bitcoin strategic reserve for the U.S., right? Keeping those coins out of circulation. This is very, very bullish news, guys. Very, very bullish news. Fridge, what's up, buddy? Can you do TA on well? Pretty please. For you, absolutely. Absolutely, brother. Let's check out Moonwell. Moonwell's waiting for its snap, right? Waiting for the snap here. Hang on a second. Un momento, por favor. All right, so yeah, you got. It looks like it wants to break this structure here, right? You're right up against it right now when it comes to Moonwell. So yeah, you've got this kind of descending channel. Your breakout on this is a bullish structure. You are likely breaking to the upside, but it doesn't mean it has to happen today or tomorrow. You could come all the way back down to the bottom of this range and continue to range in here for a little while longer, right? But it is a bullish setup. So I would think that if you do break out, if you do get a breakout, you're going to have some immediate resistance, probably right in this range here, around 1 cent, 1.3. And then you could, if you broke out more violently, you're probably going to come all the way up closer to 1 cent 8. So Moonwell is on path to have itself a nice little snap to the upside for sure, but so is everything else, right? So absolutely. My ZBEC alarm just went off for 203. There you go. That's my Bitcoin, punk. We got Bitcoin. Still can't stomach videos yet. Still buying though. Here just to shoot a like. Thank you so much, Gamecast. I appreciate you even stopping in, man. Thank you. I was a couple minutes behind. There you go. Ben, what's up, buddy? Happy Monday. Monday all day. God bless, buddy. God bless you too, my friend. Absolutely. Monday's my favorite day of the week, as you guys know. XCN is up 71%. You absolutely love to see that, guys. Where is my XCN? Where is it? Yeah, 71% on the day, guys. Crazy. 107 on the week. Boom shakalaka, right? All right, let's keep rolling along here, guys. Let's keep it rolling. What else do we have? I wanted to show you guys this. Jupiter officially launched its stablecoin, JUPUSD. So another stablecoin brought into the Solana ecosystem. Very bullish there. Very bullish there. I am a Solana ecosystem fan, as you are well aware, if you're following the channel. Let's check out this video from Mr. Pompliano. The 4 reasons why Bitcoin didn't perform well.
What happened last year? And what do you expect going into 2026?
Yeah, look, I think that there was 4 major things that played into Bitcoin being disappointing, frankly, right? I think a lot of Bitcoiners, they want asymmetry. They want the asset to go up 50, 60, 70, 80% every single year. The first thing is that there's lower risk now to Bitcoin. And so if you have lower risk, you should get a lower return. But if you think back just a couple of years, it wasn't crazy to believe that the U.S. government may shut down Bitcoin. They may try to arrest Bitcoiners. They may do anything that they possibly could to be abrasive to the asset. That's first. Second is Bitcoin was kind of outside of the system. There was no large financial institutions. Nobody was participating. And so if you had high risk, you needed high reward to be the payoff. And that's what Bitcoin provided. And that was really attractive to a lot of people. Now, as Bitcoin's risk has come down, I would argue that right now is the lowest risk ever has existed in Bitcoin's history to own Bitcoin. Well, then you should expect the return to come down as well. Now, I don't think it's low risk, low return. I think it's probably lower risk, medium return. And so I don't expect this thing to compound on an annual basis at 80%, but I also don't expect it to compound at 10% either. It's probably somewhere in the 25, 30, 35% range. And so lower risk equals lower return. That's kind of one big thing. Mass adoption also happens because of lower risk. More people are willing to come in and buy the asset and hold it because there's lower risk. And so therefore you should expect lower and lower return moving forward. Now, second thing, and this is a little bit weird, is that global stability is actually returning, on kind of this this worldly stage. And what do I mean by that? So if you go back just a couple of years, we had wars breaking out all the time. We had all sorts of kind of question marks as to what would the United States do, right? There was even people who would say that we have strategic ambiguity in many of these geopolitical conflicts. And so you saw things like Hamas and Israel. You saw, obviously, Russia and Ukraine. And you saw lots and lots of things happening. Now, since President Trump's come back into office, again, whether you like the guy or not, it is very clear that he is kind of an alpha. He's somebody who shows up and says, I'm going to be a leader. We are going to have peace through strength. And just look at what they've done. The Hamas-Israel conflict is over. I think that Russia-Ukraine is closer to signing a peace deal today than they've ever been. We just saw the removal of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. We also know the southern border is closed, right? We continue to see all sorts of different actions around the world to create stability, to create safety. And so if Bitcoin's supposed to be this kind of like chaos hedge, well, if there's less chaos, then obviously the insurance policy or that hedge is less attractive. And so there's less net new dollars coming in. Third, I think, is Wall Street. Wall Street is playing a whole different game. Up until the last 2 years, Wall Street pretty much didn't play in Bitcoin. But now we have ETFs, we have treasury companies, we have options, we have all sorts of different ways for people to participate in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And so when Wall Street comes in, I think that you end up getting a lot of different strategies. And, one of the easy things is there used to not be options. And so Jeff Park, who's the CIO at ProCap Financial, he wrote an entire piece basically explaining the fact that a lot of OGs are saying, look, I may be up 100, 1,000, 10,000x on my Bitcoin. What do I do now? Well, many of them are going to these covered call strategies. They have a really big position in Bitcoin. They may not want to sell the Bitcoin, but by selling these kind of covered call strategies, they essentially are putting price pressure on Bitcoin and they're generating yield. They're almost like selling away the upside and generating yield in the meantime. That obviously changes the dynamic of the market. On top of that, you've got a lot of very sophisticated players. Most people on Wall Street are not playing the game for 100 or 1,000x. They're playing the game to clip basis points. They want to figure out, can I return 15% a year and do it with the lowest risk possible? And so having Wall Street start to participate in Bitcoin, that obviously changes the market and goes from a true free market where it was pretty much a long only game to now there's a lot of, I don't want to say manipulation, but there's definitely a lot of things that change in the market structure. And that has this kind of suppression of volatility to it. And the last thing I think is that Bitcoin's not the only girl at the party anymore. If you go back 5 or 10 years, you could have said to yourself, okay, I want asymmetric returns. What do I buy? Pretty much the answer was Bitcoin. Maybe somebody would have bought Tesla stock or something else, but for the most part, it was Bitcoin or there wasn't a lot of option. Look today at what the options are in the market. You obviously have artificial intelligence. You've got prediction markets. You've got rockets and drones. You've got humanoid robots. You've got all kinds of new shiny things that are promising very high asymmetric return. And so it's not that Bitcoin all of a sudden became less attractive. It's just the fact that now Bitcoin has competition in that asymmetric kind of allocation. And so naturally, you're going to fragment capital, energy, and the conversation isn't just Bitcoin only. It now becomes Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, and many of those other technologies. And so I think that lower risk, more global stability, Wall Street participating, and Bitcoin not only being the not being the only girl at the party. Those are the 4 reasons why I think that Bitcoin didn't perform well in 2025. Now, 2026, I think that the story for Bitcoin historically has been this is a decentralized digital asset that has a programmatic monetary policy and a finite supply. And anyone in the world with an internet connection, not only can you access it, but you also can audit it. None of that has changed. And I think that Bitcoin is actually more attractive today than ever before because of that lower risk. And so my guess is that you're going to continue to see people putting capital into Bitcoin over the coming months and years, and Bitcoin will be just fine. Will there be years where maybe it goes down? Of course. Will there be years where maybe the return isn't as great as people expected? Of course. But that doesn't mean that the compounding annual growth rate of Bitcoin over the next decade isn't still going to be 25, 30, 35%. That's my base case. I ended 2025 owning more Bitcoin than I started the year with. I still have Bitcoin as a very substantial part of my personal net worth. And I think ultimately Bitcoin's story, it's not over. I think that Bitcoin's going to do very well in the future. It's just one of those moments where people realize there's 4 things that happened in 2025 that changed the market. You get a little bit of transition, but Bitcoin is going to be just fine.
I agree with them, but more than 4 things happened, right? So there's that, right? More than 4 things, but those are 4 key things for sure. All right, what else do we have? Something fell. Shadow of the bull may be seen in the Crypto and Fear and Greed Index. This is the first time since October. We're going to dive into that. I just had to stop a video from playing in the background. All right, let's check it out, guys. First time since October. Actually, let's get into a couple more of these chats first here. Fridge. So is Monday a liar? Correction incoming? Possible. Very, very possible, man. Hey Rob, could the Bitcoin dominance go down when we hit 100,000? Yes, it can. Absolutely. All right, let's go into this. The Fear and Greed Index, which measures investor sentiment in the cryptocurrency markets, has risen to neutral for the first time since October. November, December. It's like 3 months, man. According to data published by CoinMarketCap, the index moved into neutral territory today at 42 points. This level indicates the cautious outlook that has prevailed in recent weeks has given way to more balanced market sentiment. Bitcoin saw a surprise surge today, gaining approximately 3% during the day and climbing above $94,000. Historical data clearly reveals a recovery in sentiment. Yesterday, the index was again close to neutral at 40 points compared to 30 in the fear zone last week, 25 points last month. This indicator indicates the gradual improvement of investor psychology. So people are starting to get bullish again on Bitcoin and crypto. And you'll notice that because the chats and the comment sections are not as filled with people who don't have any experience in the market telling people what's going to happen, right? Because that's generally what happens. When things are red, when things are down and dumpy and look bad, you'll often get people with zero experience in crypto in the comment section, whether it's on YouTube or X, telling everybody that we're going into a bear market when they don't know their ass from their elbows when it comes to investing. So, funny story. William, did you sell your XCN or are you me? No, I haven't sold anything. All my sell alerts show up over in our Patreon community. So, nope, have not sold a coin. Not a coin. All right. What else do we have? Charles Hoskinson predicts Bitcoin could hit $250,000 in 2026. Cardonzo founder Charles Hoskinson projected that Bitcoin could reach $250,000 in 2026, citing growing institutional demand. He outlined developments in a non-custodial Bitcoin DeFi and yield protocols as key drivers. Hoskinson emphasized that bridging Bitcoin into decentralized finance could generate significant value for altcoins. Hoskinson explained that integrating Bitcoin into DeFi requires non-custodial lending and yield protocols. Institutions and holders prefer retaining control of Bitcoin, limiting custodial options. By lending Bitcoin for stablecoins and deploying them for yield, users could access passive returns while maintaining asset security. He noted that current protocols are under construction, aiming to provide predictable returns. So basically what he's saying here, guys, is if you hold significant bags of Bitcoin, if you take out a loan, a stablecoin loan on a DeFi protocol against your Bitcoin, now this is not financial advice, okay? This is just what Charles is saying. You could take out a USDT stablecoin backed loan against your Bitcoin, stake your stablecoin that you took out as a loan, gaining yield on that USDC or USDT or whatever, right? Gaining passive income that way, right? While still owning the Bitcoin that you locked up and used as collateral for your stablecoin loan. Does that make sense? So here, hold my Bitcoin, lend me stablecoin, stake my stablecoin over here, gain yield as passive income on that stablecoin. Later, pay that loan back, get my Bitcoin back. Now I've made money, right? Very interesting strategy by Charles. The strategy involves leveraging credit and yield protocols to channel trillions of dollars in institutional Bitcoin and altcoin markets. According to him, this process could support real-world adoption and independent operations for altcoins and Bitcoin's price movements. Charles pointed to institutional adoption as a key factor for Bitcoin's potential rise. Financial institutions like Morgan Stanley have begun advising clients to allocate small percentages to Bitcoin through structured investment products. This expansion, so basically like ETFs or whatever, right? Mass Man, what's up, man? Overcome. I see you guys in the chat. What's going on? He highlighted the correlation between tech stocks and crypto markets, noting that macroeconomic factors, including AI sector valuations, could temporarily influence Bitcoin. Nevertheless, inflows from institutional investors and governments could maintain gradual appreciation with potential ripple effects across altcoin markets. Can anyone tell me what's going on with Miria? Isn't Miria up? Miria is climbing with the rest of the market, isn't it? Let me have a look. Last time I looked, it was. Yeah. Miria is up 30% on the week. It's climbing. It crossed another zero off again. She's climbing, baby. She's climbing. Stablecoins are expected to complement Bitcoin's growth, providing alternative gateways for new users. Hoskinson referenced markets like Argentina, where stablecoins now represent a significant portion of the economic transactions. Over the next decade, stablecoin adoption could expand, enabling liquidity movement into altcoins and decentralized platforms. Very interesting strategy by Charles. Massman, brother Rob, bless you, brother. XCN pump and I return. There you go. Maybe not today, but just in general. I'm losing my shirt. I feel you, man, but she's a pumping. She is a pumping. All right, we're going to watch a few minutes of this video from CNBC talking about the economy and how it will do well in 2026.
To our first newsmaker of the hour, Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkari. Our own Steve Leisman is joining us on set for this conversation as well. But Neil, first of all, thank you for coming into set today. It's great to see you.
Great to see you. Congratulations on your spinoff.
Thank you very much. Everybody's waiting to see what the Fed does this year, what happens. And I know you've been pretty clear that it's going to be a data-dependent situation. You don't think the Fed should be automatically making moves any direction or another. So let's get right to what you think about, first, the jobs market, and second, inflation. Where do you see things right now?
I mean, the job market is clearly cooling. There's no question about that. We see this in the national statistics. The unemployment rate is up now to around 4.6%. I think that's a real, there's a lot of questions on some of the data. I think the unemployment rate is pretty clean at 4.6%. When I talk to businesses in my region, they also say they're not hiring very much. So I think that that's a clear signal that the labor market is cooling. At the same time, inflation is still too high. I think the most recent inflation data, I don't take that seriously because there's some issues with the data collection with the shutdown. I think inflation is still too high. And the big question in my mind is, how tight is monetary policy? Over the last couple of years, we kept thinking the economy is going to slow down, and the economy has proven to be far more resilient than I had expected. That tells me, well, monetary policy must not be putting that much downward pressure on the economy. And so my guess is we're pretty close to neutral right now, and we just need to get more data to see which is the bigger force. Is it inflation or is it the labor market? And then we can move from a neutral stance, whatever direction is necessary.
But your gut tells you right now that the labor market is maybe the bigger issue to wrestle with at this point?
Probably. I don't think we're going to be surprised that inflation ends up being much higher than we are seeing right now. I think the inflation risk is one of persistence, that these tariff effects take multiple years to work their way all the way through the system. Whereas I do think there's a risk that the unemployment rate could pop from here.
Well, that's really weird then, Neil, because we've been above 2%, 50% above 2% for 2 years then. The Fed has totally missed that target, and we've just cut 4 or 5 times. So that makes no sense. That then you've moved the goalpost to 3%.
No. I don't think we have moved the goalpost at all. I think the question, the debate that we've been having at the committee is, we know that tariffs affect goods import prices. Do you count that as a one-time effect, or do you think it leads to something more persistent? That's the debate that we've been having.
But
they keep saying that. They keep blaming tariffs. And yet, to this day, through the entire year of 2025, the Fed had blamed tariffs, saying tariffs are going to make inflation go up and all this stuff. We have not seen a single metric that tariffs have increased inflation the entire year, and they're still pulling on that thread. They're still hiding behind that.
persistent inflation hasn't really had anything to do. It was already persistent long before the tariffs.
Because of the COVID effects. I agree with you, Joe. I mean, that's why it's not, some people say it's so obvious we should be ignoring tariff inflation inflation's on its way back down and just be cutting dramatically to support the labor market. I'm not there either.
But if 2 was really your target, you wouldn't have cut at all.
Well, we have two sides of our mandate, right? Inflation is slowly trending down. The unemployment rate has gone from 3.6 to 4.
Why is his eyes open
So we're
wide?
moving in the wrong direction on the labor market. We're slowly moving in the right
I mean,
direction.
I'm just devil's advocate. I wish rates were zero. I wish you could pay me to take oil, and I wish the bank would pay me the mortgage for my house. But
Doesn't work that way in a capitalist system.
It depends, as you now know. Capitalism.
Capitalism
Yeah,
is-
it all depends. No, I'm just kidding though. But because it almost looks like a critic of the, and we're talking about critics this morning,
Yeah.
but we're not really being ourselves. But a critic would say that the Fed has moved the goalpost.
No, I hear you. I mean, it's been 5 years now.
But I don't say.
No, but it's been 4 or 5 years with substantially elevated inflation.
Yeah.
That we should all be alarmed about.
But you blamed it on the pandemic, not on all the stimulus.
Well, I think it's a combination of a bunch of factors. I mean, when I say pandemic,
Cause of stimulus.
it's pandemic, it's stimulus,
Okay.
it's Russia invading Ukraine. All of these pushed in one direction, which is prices up.
Neil, can you walk us through your outlook for next year? Does inflation come down slowly? What happens to the unemployment rate, and what do you do with growth?
Yeah, well, growth is the one that we talked about a moment ago, which just keeps surprising me how resilient growth is.
Yeah.
And my expectation is the economy will probably continue doing what it's been doing, which is pretty resilient, pretty decent growth. Now, in terms of the inflation components, now we have to go under the hood. I've got a lot of confidence that housing services inflation is coming down. We've modeled out the mechanism from new rent growth all the way through CPI, through PCE for inflation. So
Right.
housing services inflation, I've got confidence should continue to come down. The non-housing services, it should be tied to wages, and wage growth is slowly trending down. So it's going to be slow is my bottom line there. The tariff-induced goods inflation, are we going to see a repricing in January of this year? A lot
That's
of
the
businesses have
X
said there could be a repricing this year as they reset prices. That's something that we're going to need to watch. On the labor market, my expectation is continued low hiring, but low firing. A lot of businesses that I talk to say that they are using AI, big companies are using AI. It is affecting their hiring plans as they're trying to deploy AI. So my guess is unemployment rate moving more or less sideways, inflation slowly trending down.
So that's the policy side. What about the makeup of the committee? We were talking on Friday about whether or not Fed Chair Jay Powell stays on. What's your expectation?
Oh, I have no idea
Yeah.
what he says on. I think he's done a wonderful job as chair. None of us are perfect. I think he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. As a committee, we're not perfect. But overall, I think he's done an excellent job. And I would love to see him remain as a colleague for as long as he likes.
You would. One of the concerns about the makeup of the Fed with appointees from the president is that they would have the power to fire presidents. Are you concerned about, you're the president of the presidents, right? You're the head of the president's committee. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, the conference of chairs.
The conference of chairs. Okay. Are you concerned that presidents could be fired individually for lack of cause?
I'm not concerned about that. I think that the Federal Reserve Act is built on a foundation of 12 independent Federal Reserve banks. We each serve, all the presidents serve at the pleasure of our local boards of directors. The local boards of directors have the power to oversee me, to remove me. That's where the power lies, as opposed to in Washington.
You're on the board of the Economic
Why is his
Club of
eyes open so
Minnesota.
wide?
I am.
True?
Of course,
Looks like
I
he's
hear-
freaking out.
I hear Secretary Bessent's going to be speaking. Is this a real economic club or just a facade where
Why would it be a facade?
you just get big grants for the club and nothing actually? It's in Minnesota, right? Where,
I see.
so you see where this is going.
I see where this is going. I see where this is going.
Do you do anything there?
If
If someone goes there and tries to see if anyone's inside, are they going to say?
it's a very lean operation. We have 2 employees.
Are you excited that?
We have 2 employees.
Is it a Leering Center? Are you excited about the
Yeah, we are.
secretary?
I learned about it last week. The Secretary Bessent wanted to come
No
address
kidding,
the club.
Mario.
We'll be
Awesome.
hosting him on Thursday.
That's very good.
But one of the things Secretary Bessent has complained about is this notion of Fed bank presidents being from outside of their regions. Is that a real reason for concern?
You know, the Federal Reserve Act created the 12 reserve banks, specifies that the reserve banks each have boards of directors of local leaders, and those local leaders are charged with selecting the president. So I came from 10 of the 12 of us have come from outside our immediate district.
So he's right.
Well, he's right that we've come from outside of our districts. I don't agree that we don't represent our districts well. I've been in Minnesota now for 10 years. I'm very well known across the region by business leaders and by civic and elected leaders. And I think that those judgments are best left to the local districts to decide who should lead their banks.
Yeah, let's go back to what you're hearing from your local businesses. You said big companies are slowing down their hiring because they're trying to figure out how to implement AI. What do you hear from smaller companies?
Not AI. AI is really a big company story, at least what I'm hearing. Small companies are feeling a lot of pressure, even from the big companies. The big companies that I talk to that have retail exposure have told me that they see their lower income and their middle class consumers acting as though it's the recession. Like they're trading down, where they're shopping, they're penny pinching. And that gives them real concern about, hey, these folks are feeling real pressure. And small businesses, a lot of them do serve families and consumers in retail. So
maybe they should print money. Reminds me of Megamind. You dare challenge Megamind? Good movie. Good movie. All right, guys, let's go to the daily close. What do we need to see today? That's what you're all waiting for. We need to close above this yellow line if we want to see continuation. 94,000. We want to close above 94K. If we do not, then there is a likelihood that we will come back down and retest about 101,500 as support, right? 91,400, 91,500 range. We'll probably test that area of support if we do not close above 94K. If we do close above 94K, well, this big, beautiful box right here is, yes, you guessed it. You guessed it, my friends. It is the CME gap. Let's get that going here. Let's get that going, right? CME gap. 96K. That's what that red box is, right? So yes, that's what we're waiting to fill that gap up there. We might meet a little bit of resistance around that area, maybe at the bottom of the range, 96. But one step at a time. Let's close above 94K first, right? One step at a time here, guys. Alts will continue to climb with Bitcoin as Bitcoin continues to climb. So just one more thing to keep an eye on. But for now, guys, listen, I got to get out of here. I got some stuff to take care of. Get over to the Patreon, guys. We will be doing a Patreon live in about an hour and 15 minutes or so, 6 p.m. Central. We will be live over on the Patreon. You can also book your one-on-one coaching calls, join our group coaching calls. Listen, if you're in the red right now in your portfolio, you're newer to crypto, you don't know what to do, you need a plan, you need a strategy. How do we get you back into the green? Get over to the Patreon today. Book a one-on-one coaching call. They're free if you're a Patreon member. So schedule your coaching call. Let's sit down. Let's look at your portfolio. Let's get you pointed in the right direction. The link is in the chat. It's in the pinned comments. It's in the description. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. See you guys in the next one. God bless.